Wide receiver, sick.
Kyle Berry, running back, defensive end.
Halfback.
Marcus Rodriguez, aka Emrod, center.
Right tackle and Sandbacker.
All Sunquist. Middle linebacker, quarterback, and a fullback. Middle linebacker, wide receiver, and safety.
Logan Magro, receiver, running back, kick returner, and safety. Another presser, fullback.
Tough presser, fullback, strong linebacker.
Caden Oliver,
Oliver, corner, and receiver.
Michael Plaster, fullback, kicker, linebacker, mashed potato, Mike.
Blaster, Z, and defensive end.
Lane Rasmussen, corner.
Lane Rasmussen, corner and receiver.
Becoming E-Man. The philosophy is taught that it is not about the X's and O's, but the Harrys and the Joes. The first step in building the foundation of a team is that each person has value. No one is more important than the other, even though some will have a larger role to play. A successful group takes on an identity of their own. Very few groups take the time to build their team from the inside out.
Look at me. Don't put that on the top.
Most groups start with the mission right away. The EMADs started with each other to build trust and respect, to start down the road of self-sacrifice, to begin to build close bonds and firm friendships. How does a group go from slow and weak to fast and strong? The answer? One person, one step, one day at a time, inch by inch. The message to the players is clear.
Holy shit. Want to make sure that they don't.
Being an EMAD and what it means to be a team was established 5 years ago. EMADs are taught how to respond to the dark side and how to use the Force. Coaches establish and explain what is expected of these young men over the course of their career. Too cool for school versus EMAD effort. The foundation is laid for each and every one so as not to be afraid to fail. It's characteristic of a great team that players don't knock each other down, they pick each other up. The EMADs have been taught to chase perfection, knowing they would never catch it, but in their attempt, they would achieve excellence. The message is clear. As individuals, you will not succeed in this sport, but as a fist, we will become stronger. What we all witnessed was the construction of a team that unfolded in front of our very eyes, because a foundation had been laid brick by brick. Trust, responsibility, work ethic, commitment, all had been mortared together. A house has now been built, a doghouse.
Dig up their pennies at the end of their senior year, and they're going to be very, very proud of the accomplishment they made.
EMADs on 3. 1, 2, 3. EMADs!
powerful as a changed mind. You can change your hair, your clothing, your address, your spouse, your residence. But if you don't change your mind, the same experience will perpetuate itself over and over again, because everything outwardly changed, but nothing inwardly changed.
If you want something out of life, if you want to change yourself, if you want to acquire something, if there's some goal that you want to reach, changing your behaviors, overcoming negative habits, it's challenging. It's hard. Most people go through life never discovering what their talents are. Most people never develop their talent. If you don't develop the courage to do that which has been given you to do, and you spend a lot of time going around trying to convince other people or trying to get their approval, what will happen is that you will lose your nerve. And other people will convince you that what you're doing doesn't have any value, and you'll give up on your dream. How much time do you have left? The power to hold on in spite of everything, the power to endure. This is the winner's quality. The hunger, the ability to face defeat again and again without giving up. This is a winner's quality. What this power is, I cannot say. All I know is that it exists, and it becomes available only when a man or a woman is in that state of mind in which he or she knows exactly what he or she wants and is fully determined not to quit until they find it. There's greatness in you, and you've got to learn how to tune out the critics outside and the critic inside. So I'm going to harness my will, and I'm not going to let anything stop me. I deserve this. Most people give up on themselves easily. You know the human spirit is powerful. There's nothing as powerful. It's hard to kill the human spirit. You are unstoppable. Live your life with passion, with some drive. Most of us go through life with our brakes on, holding back. Decide that you're going to push yourself. You've got to focus on you. And as you convince you, as you sell yourself every day, you will begin to see a difference in the things that you're doing. Selling yourself on your ability to perform a job, to achieve a certain objective. Telling yourself every day, here I go again. And I got what it takes. This is my day, and nothing out here is going to stop me.
This kid's gonna be the best kid in the world. This kid's gonna be somebody better than anybody ever knew.
I'm gonna show you how great I am.
People are rewarded in public for what they've practiced for years in private.
Don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something. You got a dream, you got to protect it. People can't do something themselves. They want to tell you you can't do it. You want something, go get it. Period. You have to believe that something different can happen. He who says he can and he who says he can't are both usually right.
Dig deep down and ask yourselves, who do you want to be? Figuring out for yourselves what makes you happy, no matter how crazy it may sound to the people.
Make a choice. Like, just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. Just decide.
Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Pain is temporary. It may last for a minute, or an hour, or a day, or even a year. But eventually, it will subside, and something else will take its place. If I quit, however, it will last forever.
The margin for error is so small. I mean, 1/2 a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us. They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second.
What did you say to the kid? It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. Get up.
Get up. And don't ever give up.
We can stay here, kicked out of us, or we can fight our way back into the light. We can climb out of hell. 1 inch at a time.
To be able at any moment to sacrifice what you are for what you will become. Most of you won't be successful because when you're studying and you get tired, you quit. I don't do well in math. You're right. You ain't never studied. I'm not good in writing because you have never written before. Talent you have naturally. Skill is only developed by hours and hours and hours of beating on your craft.
If you are not making someone else's life better, then you're wasting your time.
Don't cry to give up. Cry to keep going. Don't cry to quit. You already in pain. You already hurt. Get a reward from it.
Now, if you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not point fingers saying, you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that and that ain't you. You're better than that.
Because every day is a new day. Every moment is a new moment. So now you got to go out and show them that I'm a different creature. Now!
I'm gonna show you how great I am. Now, what are you gonna do?
Because limits, like fears, are often just an illusion.
Well, but not a lot to say. He sure did. He sounded extremely confident, and like I said at the outset, these are his kids. You know, he took them under their wings out of 8th grade, and now seniors and juniors, and obviously he's very proud of them, and obviously they have worked very, very hard to get to this point. It is very warm here at the Kibbe Dome tonight, which will possibly play a factor in the game. It makes it a home game for Sandpoint. I'd say that the Sandpoint crowd is larger than the Trojan crowd has traveled. And, you know, for this year, Bob, you look at the Bulldogs team, they went to state last year. They've got it all there for them. You know, a team that has not only a lot of hopes and dreams, but frankly, I would imagine a lot of expectations on them, the kind of season they expect to have. Well, you have a coach that is as confident as the team below him, and he believes so much in his players that you heard it in the pregame interview. That we have high expectations. Post Falls, of course, the 5A opponent, as Coach said in his interview, one of the largest schools in the state of Idaho. You have a lot of kids to choose from, and we'll see what they bring this year. 13 returning starters from last year's team. You know, and we were watching the defense be introduced. Man, the experience that was being introduced. Even guys, you know, that played some race, some of those guys that, you know, maybe sharks last year, but they played. So this is not, you know, it's not a great team that the Bulldogs bring in here tonight. It's a team that should have some, you know, sort of veteran savvy, and they're, like you said, senior-rated, and it all gets underway in about 35 seconds. action. He's going to hand it up to the fullback right up the gut. There's maybe a yard. But it's a big boy leading the way. He looks like a lineman, not a fullback. I mean, oh my gosh. Only 6'1", 250. Yeah, that's before breakfast. And he's going to run it right off tackle and get maybe a yard. Tackled from behind by big Carlos Solano. His hands are massive. He grabbed him by the number because he wasn't going to let go. He just he held him up in the air, and so somebody tackled his feet out. In motion. Back to pass was going to be that's the middle of the pressure action. Pressure fooling everybody in the building, and he gets a Bulldog first down. Third down at 14. Here's Perry, the left side. Perry tries to break a tackle. He does, and he's out of bounds near a first down. Third and 1 for the Bulldogs. Norris takes it, pitch out to Perry. Perry left side has the first down, and more. He's across the 40, 35, 30. Down the left side, he breaks the tackle, and he does out of bounds the 22-yard line. Kyle Perry showing why he's been the Bulldog and starting tailback his sophomore year. That was a classic Perry run. And here's going to be pressure at the middle again, and he rumbles close to another Bulldog first down inside the 10.
Pressure up the middle.
Norris is going to roll to his right. He pitches it to Perry. Perry trying to get to the outside. Breaks the tackle to the 2, to the 1. Down it's not Perry carrying the ball. It is going to be number 21, Logan Magro. And he made a guy miss on, should have been dead to right in the backfield. And what a shifty fly move to clear some space. Norris has one man in the backfield. He's going to pitch it out to Perry. Perry cuts back across the end zone. Touchdown Bulldog. For the first possession of the season, they march 89 yards for a touchdown. And what a great kick by Foster. Comes down at the 2. It's dropped, and the Bulldog coverage is there. Knock it down to 14. Gregory again into the shotgun. He has one man in his backfield this time, and he's going to hand it to that man. He's trying to get down to the other side. He cannot get anywhere. See it so far. Yeah, the running back has decided to come off the field after that. Three receivers off to the left. He gets it to the one man in the backfield. He will tackle from behind by Paul Suntrip. There's no gain whatsoever. Suntrip's doing a great job of shooting the gap and making a tackle. Quick move from the end to the linebacker spot. Just really read that perfectly and chased the man down and brought him down for absolutely no gain. So third goal. Greg has tripped out to his right. He is looking right. He throws. It is complete at the the tackle immediately. Nice open field tackle by the Bulldog on the far side to not only save a touchdown, but set up a 4th and goal from about the 7. Jackson Jerk in on the tackle. Yeah, no gain. So beautifully done there. An empty backfield. Trips to his left. He rolls to his left. He's looking in the end zone. He passes. He's completed the punt. And hits and he run out of bounds right there at the 5-yard line as the Bulldogs have held Raven Smith finally coming in to make a touchdown saving tackle for the Bulldogs. Take over on downs. And what a great opening quarter this has been, Chris, for the Bulldogs, who drove, 89 yards for their first touchdown of the season. Then coming up on 4th and goal on the 8 and the stop. Yeah, this defense is going to be, I think, really tough when it gets into the red zone because, they're fast, they're strong. The field is compressed, so there's not a lot of room to maneuver. And we saw the goal from the 10. They got to 5, luckily. Yeah. Postball has the football. They rest it at the 35-yard line. They go up the gut on first down, and there's nothing happening there. What a wall the Bulldogs put up that time. Started that time once again by Mr. Sandpoint, and then when he bounced, the running back bounced off him and tried to head back the other way, there was a host of Bulldogs there to say, I don't think so. He's going to drop back the pass. He throws to his right side. It is completed, and for Bulldog first down and a gain of about 12 to Jake Timothy. And his first pass attempt of the season and first completion. goes in motion. North going to pitch it to that man. It is Logan Magro. He's down the sideline. He's got another Bulldog first down and a gain of about 15 up the gut and a gain of about another 13 and another Bulldog first down. Wow. Pressure that time, following his line, and it's just blowing out the interior of the Trojans. Look at him, City didn't want to wear him down. Here's the pass out to Timothy. It's completed for 30. He's got the first down and more. He's down to about the 26-yard line. So the Bulldogs going to come up with their 4th and 11. One man in motion, that's Magro. Norris back to pass. It is completed at the 5 and out of bounds at that spot. It's going to be very close. I think it's down. It's just short ball. They marked him at the 6. Yeah, his foot was on the 5-yard line when he made the catch, and they knocked him out of bounds. It was Wyatt McCormick Cox with a nice catch that time. And they're going to turn it over on downs on the bad spot. He do his right, throwing long down the field. Got a man wide open at the 40, the 45, 50, 40, and breaks the tackle at the 20, gets to the 5, and caught from behind at the 3-yard line. Huge play before coming from out of nowhere. Caleb Merrill comes in and makes the touchdown-saving tackle. Merrill doing a sensational job coming all the way from the other side of the field to save the touchdown. So it's first and in motion, one in the backfield. Gregory's going to give it to that first guy through, and he is met, thrown for a 5-yard loss. Paul Sundquist leading the way, being helped out by Clayton Fournier and several other Bulldogs. So loss of 5. 2 receivers to his right, 2 to his left. 3rd and goal from the 7. Takes the snap. He's going to keep it to the left side, looking for a crease, and he's not going to get hit. He's going to be tackled at about the 5. A great Bulldog defense again, led by Sundquist. Also in Cardin Oliver helping out on the tackle. So it's going to be the 4th and goal. The snap. He's going to hand it off the man in motion. Tries to get around the corner. And he is knocked out of bounds at the 2 or 3 yard line. So the Bulldogs have held once again. 4:27 to play before halftime. Bulldogs hanging on to their 1-point lead, 7-6. And for the second time tonight, have held the post balls on a first and goal situation. We've had 3 holds inside the 20-yard line so far, Bob. And Norris is the quarterback and the punter. This time he's playing punter, and he gets a good one. It's going to roll across the 50, 45, now the bounds at the 40. Oh, it's a great punt. Once again, as Magro will take it at about the 3-yard line. He's setting up his blocking right up the middle. He's across the 10, the 15, 25 to the 30, 35, 36, 7-yard line. So a 34-yard return for Magro. The Bulldogs defense down and 5. Norris back to pass. Short out to Wyatt McCormick Cox. Next to Captain breaks the tackle. He's across the 50, 40, knocked out of bounds at about the 39-yard line. So great second effort by Wyatt McCormick Cox. He might not have had the first down at the first time made the tackle, but he broke the tackle, fed down the sideline for a nice gain and a Bulldog first. Every time Kyle Perry touches the ball, the Trojans are all over it so far. Well, you know, the one thing we haven't seen the Bulldogs do yet tonight is just give it to Perry out of the eye and let him pick his way. He's always running sideways when he gets it right now. He hasn't been in the backfield all night. He's been in the slot starting every play, and so he'll always kick it down. Back to pass, the post balls on first down. They throw it out the flat. It's going to be a loss of about 4 as the Bulldogs defender should have had that snuffed out. Paul Franklin coming in to help with the tackle. Also, Caden Oliver. Right there, Caden Oliver just absolutely blew that play up. Back to pass, throws across the middle, and is broken up at the last minute. And a nice play by Sandpoint to Colton Angle. A game-saving breakup. Touchdown-saving and probably unholy plays tonight. And that was another touchdown-saving breakup. So that would be 4th and 18. Can't stop him. Gregory taking the snap. He has one man in his backfield. The receivers are all on their right. He throws it into the end zone and is broken up once again. They look like they're picking on Colton Angle, and they get him out there one-on-one, but he breaks it up in the end zone, and the Bulldogs have held for the big play right now for the Bulldogs. 7 Norris over center. One man that goes in a motion after pass out into the flat, and it's going to be a Bulldog first down about midfield. And breaking that tackle is Wyatt McCormick-Cox, and the Bulldogs have a first down. A great dropping back, looking, throwing, and she's caught by Perry at the 35, and the 33-yard line. But gain of about 18 for the Bulldogs. And a nice catch by Kyle Perry after a great throw from Gavin North. And the Bulldogs first and 10 in post-ball territory. Drive down first and 10 at the post-ball 34. Being cast out on the flat. It is caught. And it's taking the speed of the 20. And it's in the 5. Touchdown Bulldogs. The 34-yard pass from Gavin North to number 34. To number 34, Wyatt McCormick-Cox. It's the third time tonight. Has done a great job of a run after the catch. The Bulldogs are right back in this game. Right, and Wyatt McCormick-Cox broken on one, but two tackles on that sideline. Kicks out his way into the end zone. Just what the doctor and the Bulldogs ordered. With a touchdown to get right back in this one, an extra point away from making it a 5-point deficit. So that man in the tailback position, he's going to fake it to him and throw and shoot number 22 right below us. He fumbles the ball, and the Bulldogs recover at the 45. And they say, yes, there was a catch and a fumble. The Bulldogs come up with a huge turnover. Paul Franklin comes up with the ball. Out of the line, rolling an incomplete. They think, no, he kind of turned and got ahead. He did. He turned around, tried to make a move, dropped the ball, and I didn't see who he skipped in front of, but the Bulldogs back in business at the 45. Those balls 40. Again, Gavin Norris, the cornerback. Got one man in motion. He's going to fake it to him. He's going to drop back. He's looking on the middle beat. And it's complete on the clear. Touchdown Bulldogs. There he is. McCormick-Cox again right up the middle. Beautifully laid out by David Norris in stride. A little bit of a broken tackle, and just like that, and both Bulldogs back in front in about 3 minutes. Wow. About a minute and a half into the quarter. 90-second Bulldog boy. 13 points so far and lead it 20-19. Hang on to your hat, folks. It's going to be a heck of a fourth quarter. The ball. The throw out into the slot, and it's going to be knocked down for a loss. About 4 in on the tackle for the Bulldogs. And a huge play as Caden Oliver was actually having a huge game. He just swept out that pass. But as soon as the kid got it, he was down. Yeah, he was phenomenal. The Bulldog defense has given up 2 yards of rushing in the fourth quarter and 4 yards of passing. He's going to play action pass, rolling right, looking right. He's going to be hit and dropped at the 29-yard line. Alvarado comes in to finally make a tackle after Paul Franklin held him up for him. That's going to be a big loss and a timeout for both goals. They used their last timeout. What a huge play by Franklin. Gregory waits this. So 4th and 17 for all intents and purposes. This could be your ball game right here. 4th and 7 Gregory. He takes the snap. He drops back. He's under some pressure. He gets away from Solano. He's rolling to his right. He's looking. He's throwing deep. He's throwing it out of bounds. And then it's incomplete. The Bulldogs are out. And they take over the football with 1 minute, 31 seconds to play. They came out with a big drive that march down the field with their sensational start. And they kind of went into a funk in the second and third quarters. Post-ball had some big plays to take a big 19-7 lead. And then the Bulldogs came back and scored 2 touchdowns from Gavin Norris to Wyatt McCormick-Cox within about a minute and a half of each other. And the Bulldogs kind of hung on. With the post-ball quarterback, they ran for 148 yards. Bulldog got gained at 462 to 434.
Yoke's Fresh Market pregame show here on KSPT as we continue. Sandpoint getting set to play East Valley, coming off a 3-game homestand. And, boy, Murderer's Row, kind of a gauntlet for you.
Murderer's Row. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on right now, what we're trying to do and who we're playing. You know, so you go back and look. Post Falls is 2-2, and they lost in a tough game to U High and to us. And then you look at U-High, they're undefeated, just crushed Ferris. Lewiston's undefeated. Mount Spokane is undefeated. And all three of those games were tied at halftime, and we're playing with, our best running back, I don't think has really finished a game yet. Our fullback was out last week. Cox played at probably 70%, tried to play a little bit. We're handicapped, but our real issue is that our inability to run the ball and sustain a drive, which is very untypical of where we've been headed. Now, when we first started, it was hard to do a lot of things because of our lack of athleticism. Our kids are pretty athletic now, and we're playing really good teams, but we got to sit back and take a look at what we're trying to do, because even with those guys out, we should, in 4 games, and you've been with us, Chris, for a long time, we haven't had a ground and pound drive one time in 4 games. It's been big plays in the passing game. We get a run here and a run there, but really inconsistency. And the inconsistency to sustain a running game has had, I think, a major effect on the morale of our entire team. Really flawless defense in the first half. Mm-hmm. And you're watching the defense getting better and better. We moved Clayton Fournier from linebacker to safety, played really well. Logan Maglos, our other safety, has been playing back there since the start of the season. The way the guys played in the first half was phenomenal. And then we had a couple of turnovers, but I think the real story was, they kick off and we go 3 and out. And they get the ball in great field position. We get 2 questionable pass interference calls, and now we're down 21-14. The defensive guys turn around and look down and go, oh, it's 2nd long and again, and punt team's getting ready. And they're out there all the time. And that's, we've got to do some things in the running game, because we've had the ability to throw the ball. But if you can't run the ball and we become one-dimensional, then that is going to have an effect the rest of the season.
Well, it really showed itself in the way the field position battle played out throughout the game.
There's some things that we're kind of working on, and we'll see how it festers up this Friday night against East Valley. Right the ship. We've got to get some guys healthy. I don't know if it's going to be this week. I don't know if Kyle's going to be able to go. I don't know if Tyler Presser or Wyatt Cox. But we have a lot of really good other players. Stay tuned and wait and see how this team rolls on out.
Can this be a blessing in disguise, having some of the younger players, some of the backups step in and get experience at this time of year as you move down the line towards the end of the season and towards the playoffs, and just make you deeper?
Oh, without a doubt. But also, you grind through this. The 4 teams that we've played, if you put them in the 4A division in the state of Idaho, I think all 4 of them would be Final Four playoff type teams that you would see probably in the semis to finals. Mm-hmm. With that being said, we know that we're good for about a half. And we also know that if we don't fix the running game, we're going to be one and done too. We got our work cut out for us, but the kids are stepping up to the challenge, and they've proved to be fairly resilient. But that's really the task at hand, and we'll see how it shows from week to week.
When you look at the film, when you sit with your coaches and think about, okay, running game, how do we fix it? What are what is it that you're trying to do now to fix the running game? Is it something that you're working on with the scheme offensively, with the line? Is it formation? Is it just, waiting for some of those players to get healthy again? Is it a combination of all those things?
You cannot wait for the guys to get healthy. So then you have to take a look at basically what you're doing schematically, and you got to go back and analyze. We face some pretty good teams defensively, but there's stuff there. We're not either sustaining it or we're not seeing it. Possibly we're asking the kids to do some things that they might, quite frankly, be able to do better in a different way. So what I'm going to tell you is, Chris, stay tuned, and we'll talk Friday after the game.
Okay. That's a fair point. So as you look at now, we're 4 games into the season, so you're nearly to the halfway point of the regular season. What are the things that you are really positive about that are sort of clicking along at the spot that you thought it might be?
The steady improvement defensively, our ability to throw the ball, Davin's ability to adjust on the run.
Well, when we talk, I always like to talk coaching philosophy a little bit because it's fascinating. How do you approach where you are? You had a tough schedule. Theoretically, maybe that schedule is going to lighten a little bit. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But how do you keep the positive momentum going? How do you keep the kids focused on what's ahead, not worrying about what's already transpired?
You analyze your mistakes, you analyze the things that you're not doing right, but you also spend the time on, look at all the things we do, look at all, now if we'd have just done this and this, look where it is. You know, you can see the growth, and so it's, the kids can see that too, and they understand. I mean, they understood that U-High was probably the best team that they have seen, you know, in their career, the way they played. I mean, that comment was, that was the best team, that was better than Blackfoot, that was better than any team we saw last year. Now when you start throwing things at them, they have a pretty good idea. Now in the first 4 games, the variety of stuff that we've seen and the kids have had to prepare for, some really quality stuff. Now with that being said, a win here and there would cure a lot of stuff. Reassure and reaffirm a lot of the things that they are going through right now.
With that said, and obviously that the other thing that happens in a situation like this is, you know, outside influences. Well, gosh, you know, I thought you guys were going to be good. You're, you know, and maybe some fans or some people around some of the players don't really understand the level of competition that you guys are playing, and it becomes more about to people on the outside. Well, look at your record, as opposed to, well, look at who we've played and look where we're going.
Again, these things will play out over the course of the season, which are great life lessons. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And it's what you gather and learn on the way. You know, it's part of the team chemistry where, you know, they understand. They know what they're going through. And they see all that. And they learn to block that out or to use it as motivation to say, well, we're just going to have to wait and see. We'll see who has the last laugh in this deal. You know, the morale of practice and the practices we've had have been really good, and we don't show those kind of signs. The ship's not cracking. If anything, it's going to solidify through this process.
Well, we look forward to seeing how that process plays out when you take the field here in just a few minutes against East Valley. Coach, thank you for stopping by.
For years, lining up in a power I formation with a fullback and halfback right behind the quarterback and running downhill between the tackles was a staple of Satini Paloa's power running teams. So after mixed results with a new misdirection-based running offense early in the season, the Bulldogs scrapped things on Monday and went back to work reacquainting with a familiar old friend in practice all week. On Friday night, the early results were favorable, as the Bulldogs featured a nice mix of ISO power runs with play-action passing, moving the chains and rolling up more than 500 yards of total offense in a 40-13 road win over East Valley of the Great Northern League.
Welcome back in. It's the Oaks Fresh Market pregame show here on KSPT as we prepare for Lake City, one of the longtime Sandpoint rivals. Seems weird to be saying long time now, Coach, but I guess it has been a few years that you and Coach Troxel in Sandpoint and Lake City have been getting after it. And
it'll be the 16th meeting.
Yeah, it's been a few. And so we look forward to the game coming up here in just a moment. But let's wind up and see what we had last week. Interesting game, tight game for a half, and then things seemed to click in the third quarter.
Well, I think they would have clicked in the fourth quarter, but we're still dealing with kind of the rust of switching, you know, some of the things that we're doing offensively. And we put the ball on the ground. We had a couple of holds. We went the wrong way a couple of times. And that was, I pretty much expected that to happen. It was a cram session trying to get stuff in. We felt it was the week to do it, and that proved out to be okay. You know, when we looked at the play sheet in the first half, it was like gain of 10, gain of 15. Oh, we got a hold. Gain of 10, gain of 5, gain of 10. Oh, put the ball on the ground. And we couldn't quite get out of our own way. And in the second half, we just did a better job of not doing that.
Well, defensively, except for maybe a one possession or two, you really limited them, I thought, on what they were trying to do and made them have to really adjust to stuff that they didn't seem too comfortable trying to get done.
No, you know, our guys are, like I said, they're going through, our first 4 games, you know, all the different nuances that you were going to see between U-High, Lewiston. You know, we got a heavy dose of how to learn how to line up and how to learn how to play football. And the kids have keep learning, and they get better and better. There was a couple of things that East Valley did. They did a couple of things that really well. They just didn't have the personnel to do it. Our guys are learning how people try to attack us, and then how, what the counter is to shut that down. And they're playing, they just look like they're playing better and more familiar with the scheme. We held them under 200 yards, but under 100 yards rushing. With that being said, Post Falls played them the week before. The score was fairly similar, except Post Falls jumped on them early where we kind of kicked the ball around. But Post Falls was only able to run the ball for 85 yards. Us putting in a new deal, we ran for 250 and threw for 270. So we had 520 yards. Just took us a while to kind of get everything ramped up.
And the big playability in your passing game really showed through, obviously, last week as well, with some big passing plays. Maybe not as consistently as you would have hoped, as far as percentage of completions, but you definitely hit the big ones when you needed to.
Yeah, Davin was 11 out of 19, but again, guys were doing a lot of the same things in a different way. Got out of position a couple of times, and there was a couple of drops, there was a couple of misreads. They were really struggling on the other side because in order to stop our running game, they had to get both safeties involved. Well, those safeties coming up to stop the run also couldn't be back to stop the play-action pass. Mm-hmm. There was a couple of near misses, but then there were several completions to Jake and to Wyatt. If they would have covered our back in the flat, Mikey Plaster was open down the middle several times.
I think that watching the team so far this year and looking at the way the season is unfolding, you're starting to see some new names filtering in and the depth starting to show as, you've had a few injuries and you're moving some guys around. And I think that so far, some of these guys who have stepped in have done a really nice job, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, we started 4 juniors and a sophomore. I would say that Walker Jacobson, Clayton Fournier, really performing at a high level. And I told those guys at the start of the season, I said, you just have to look for your opening, and it will appear. I'm not sure where it's going to appear, but it will appear, and go take it. And they both have done that. Robbie Johnson is going to be an unbelievable player at Sandpoint High School. He's really got a lot of athletic ability, and it's going to start again on Friday. Logan Magro's playing the slot receiver, and will also still play some defense. But things are starting to solidify, and it just takes a while to get there. And the offensive line is solidifying to where they are. Now we have Tyrell Murray, Carlos on the left side, Alex Fan or Marcus Rodriguez at center, and then we either have Alex or Justin Hobson at right guard, and then Travis Davis at right tackle. And it's taken a while to get those guys in the right spots, and playing the really good teams that we played really kind of forced us to shuffle the deck to get the guys in the right spots. Really forced us to do a lot of things, to examine and look at what we were doing. Things are starting to solidify as we go into these last 4 games, and really it couldn't have happened maybe in a better place, better time. Even when we messed up, we were going forward, and that was the big difference from the first 4 games. We went forward, and the ability to run for over 200 yards and what it did for our passing game, I think was pretty obvious.
Well, also, special teams, having Plaster and the ability to, if you get stalled around the 20-yard line, kick a field goal is really, really something that's been helpful to you so far this year.
Well, I think we've attempted more field goals this year than we have in the last 3 combined. But, things are kind of falling into place, and we just got to get everybody healthy for the home stretch, and none of it's really serious. It's just little nagging stuff. Poor Kyle has been slowed up by turf toe, but anybody that's ever had it realizes, there are guys that miss 4 or 5 games with turf toe, and basically it's a sprained big toe. Train for it or prevent. It just happens, and it happened because of all the smoke and playing down in the Kibby.
Yeah.
And I feel really bad for Kyle because, he has trained for this season. He has set himself up to have just a great season. And physically, he's ready to go except for a toe. And he hasn't been able to finish a game, really even finish a half. Doubtful that you'll see him tonight.
Well, let's look ahead tonight. We've got Lake City. We know what we're going to see from the Timberwolves, but are there any players in particular or spots that you think that Coach Troxel is really going to try and take advantage of for them on offense tonight?
Well, last week, they played Tomwater, who's a perennial powerhouse Seattle, and it was 28-21 in the fourth quarter, and then Tomwater scored again and made it 35-21. Their starting quarterback got hurt against Shadle Park, and I don't know if he's going to play tonight. But they put in their backup against Tomwater. This guy goes back to pass, and then he just takes off and runs. And so what we got is that we got a guy that's, that we got to keep in the pocket. He basically accounted for all 21 points against Tomwater, and he's their backup. Rolling left, rolling right, pump faking everybody. The Tomwater guys were laying on the grass, and this guy kept drives alive with his feet. Throws well enough that when he got outside the pocket, and guys were open, he hit them. This guy accounted for all 21 points against Tumwater, who's a really quality opponent.
Wow, that's impressive. So we look forward to that, and we look forward to...
Irish eyes were smiling both on the field and among the chain crew as Sandpoint Junior running back Levi Irish broke out with a monster game to lead Sandpoint over Lake City 48-19 Friday night at Barlow Stadium. Irish, getting his first start at tailback, erupted for 298 yards on 29 carries, scoring on touchdown scampers of 23, 58, 13, and 39 yards. The quick and shifty back also had 3 touchdowns called back, or his night could have been even bigger. Like all good running backs, he praised the offensive line of Travis Davis, Alex Fayen, Marcus Rodriguez, Carlos Collado, and Tyrell Murray for helping pave the way to a huge breakout night with some road grading blocking. I knew my Hogs were going to do it for me, and we were going to win this game, said Irish. It was another big night offensively for the Bulldogs, who ran up 587 yards of total offense in the second game since switching back to the more downhill power I. The win breaks a 5-game winning streak in the series for the Timberwolves and serves notice that Sandpoint will be a handful to deal with in the 4A ranks.
So here we go. Some players in new positions tonight too, Bob. You're going to see Levi Irish, the tailback. Plaster will be the fullback. Kyle Perry not suited tonight. Timberwolves returner kind of fumbled the ball a little bit, picked it up, and then was immediately tackled at his own 10-yard line. So here we go, third down and 3. Duke takes the snap, first pass of the game, the quick out, breaks one tackle, tries to break another, and will not get a first down. In fact, we're going to lose about 4 on the play as the Bulldogs completely stuffed it out and breaking through a block and helping in on the tackle for the Bulldogs. Well, there's a whole bunch of them. Center, I formation behind his play action pass, rolling to his left, looking, throwing it complete to Plaster. It's across the 50, 45-40, steps out of bounds. However, at the 37-yard line, or else he would have scored 6. He turned on the afterburners, but he, from our great vantage point here at Barlow Stadium, we could see that he had definitely stepped out of bounds. The Gonzalez gained 17 yards and a Bulldog first down. Nice looking play out of the backfield. Boy, how do you stop that? You play action pass to your tailback and your fullback runs like a gazelle out of the backfield. Plaster up the gut, breaks the tackle. He's at the 25, cuts back to 20, trying to get outside, carrying bodies all the way down to the 6-yard line. First and goal for the Bulldogs. Michael Plaster, what a great job. He had a little bit of a hole, then he broke a tackle, and then he just stood at the outside a la Kyle Perry. And they get down to the 6-yard line, first and goal Bulldogs. Again, you cannot underestimate the power and the speed. Look, I go just Dixon for a minute there. Moving sideways, kind of juking, great body lean, and then the fullback part at the end when they were trying to bring him down, he just kept dragging him inside the end. So he goes 6'2", 220. Or it's going to be Irish trying to get to the outside, gets back in, crosses the goal line, touchdown. Levi Irish, I believe his first varsity touchdown of his career, and the Bulldogs are up 6-0. Of course, his father and grandfather on the chain gang across the way have got to be feeling pretty proud right now. Yeah, Dad had a few touchdowns. Dad was one of the Bulldogs' great. But I think he was the first tailback for Coach Blow when he came. I don't know, I just love the I formation. I love Bulldog power football. They brought it back last week. It's successful with it. This is looking deep. He's got a man open. It's caught. Touchdown, Bulldog. Wyatt McCormick Cox had his man beat. Norris threw it right on the numbers at the 2-yard line and just walked into the end zone. So the Bulldogs don't come out running. They throw one pass, and boom, it's 6-0. Yeah, so much for your prognostication skills. But we like it. for Norris. He looks kind of wobbly, but it's caught by Magro to 30. He's down to about the 23-yard line. They said kind of a wobbly pass, but he got the job done. And Magro is there with good hands to haul it in. This offense tonight has come out firing. Every time we've had the ball, we've marched it down the field. Yeah, that was wide open Magro that time out of that deep position. Here's Irish, right side, breaks the tackle across the 15, 10, 5, touchdown Bulldog. 23-yard run for Levi Irish, and there he finally gets his first high school varsity touchdown. No flag. And I just saw a little fist bump handshake from Dad and Grandpa on the far side of the field. Drop back to pass, throws it into the corner for Wyatt. Did he get it? Yes! Wyatt McCormick Carr comes up with a diving catch. The very far corner of the end zone for the two-point conversion. Now is the quarterback, one man in his backfield. He's going to hand it to him up the gut. He's not going to get it. He's not going to get anything as the Bulldogs, led by middle linebacker Paul Sundquist and Carlos Collado, just picked him up and threw him back. If you're wondering if that play will be on the highlight reel, oh, heck yeah. Collado initially, who got his big arms wrapped around the running back, and then Sundquist came in almost simultaneously and sent the Lake City running back the other direction. That was a big play for the Bulldog defense. Cyrus left side, rolling, breaks the tackle, comes across the 50, 45, 40, 30, down the sideline at the 10, to 5, touchdown Bulldogs! What a block by Logan Magro, coming back to spring that for the last 30 yards. 58-yard touchdown run for Levi Irish, and it was a mixture of everything. He broke a tackle, and Chris Benson got a great block from Magro, then turned on the afterburners going down the sideline, literally just outran every Lake City defender for the Bulldogs touchdown, and another high five from Grandpa and Father across the way. This is awesome stuff for Sandpoint. 20-7 Bulldogs. Levi Irish, 85 yards in his last 3 carries. So the Bulldog defense back out there on the field, and they have been pretty impressive. Quarterback keep it, and he's going to keep it right at the original line of scrimmage as he is down with no gain whatsoever. Devin LaCroix did not fly. He got back the opportunity. Right behind 3 receivers to his left. He's going to keep it, and he's going to keep it pounded into the ground for a big loss. Sam Johnson just came right through the gap, did not buy the fake, and dumped the Duke out for a 6-yard loss. It's going to be 4th and 11. Fake them out offense that the Croxville's running is not playing the Bulldogs at all. Fournier takes it at the 27-yard line, looking for blocks, gets to the outside at the 40, 45, 50, cut back at the 45, all the way down to the 40-yard line. Nice return by Clayton Fournier for the Bulldogs at great field position as we are beginning to click on all cylinders. Irish trying to get to the outside. He's to the 15, 10. There's a flag as he gets into the end zone. So potentially a 19-yard touchdown carry for Irish. Technically, Irish has been in the end zone 3 times, but the score sheet's only going to show 1. 15 yards compared to his last one of 58. But that was a great run. It was. Once he gets to the outside, gets that sideline, he just takes off. He is one fast character, and he's tough to bring down. His center of gravity low. He's a bowling ball style runner, but he's got some jets on him as well. I just find it shocking that an Irish is a good tailback. We're going to get a loss here on the second down play for Dukow. As his quarterback keepers are not pulling anybody now, as he takes about a 6-yard loss on this play. No. A great job. No, I'm just saying, no, you're right. That's -6, but right there on that side, you had Sam Johnson, also for the Bulldogs, Burke. They just, when he went to the outside, they had a practice. So go back to pass. He's looking deep. He's going deep. It's picked off at midfield. Return on the way. 35, 30. Cut back at the 25-yard line. That's where the Bulldogs will take over first and 10. Robbie Johnson wins the pick for the Bulldogs at midfield. It's going to be Irish outside, Irish inside, Irish into the end zone. Levi Irish having a huge game. Scores another touchdown on a 13-yard carry. And the Bulldogs are up 27-7. Especially TV, it could have been his fifth. Unbelievable. And this second quarter for them, yikes. 3 yards of rushing and no yards passing. 130 yards so far by my extremely unofficial stats. And then Lake City has 111 yards of offense total. So the defense is getting the job. The offense is rolling like none other so far this season. Yeah. And it's just and again, if you weren't with us early, the Bulldogs, they've pretty much left about 15 points out there right now, even with 27 on the board. So they have dominated from start to finish. Irish has had, the 3 touchdowns, but he's actually had 5. And so it's been a challenge. And Mike Plasker is having a great game in the fullback position. He's just one of the most valuable Bulldogs so far this season. Second down and 5 at their own 25-yard line. Norris goes to the Irish again, left side, gets to the outside, gets the first down, gets across the 40, gets across the 50, down inside the 45 to the 42-yard line. Another huge gain for Levi Irish, who is having his coming out party here at Bartle Stadium tonight. To the 37-yard line, Norris over center as always, play action pass. Has time, has a receiver. It's Magro at the 20. He's at the 15, to the 10. He's into the end zone. Touchdown on a 37-yard pass from Norris to Magro, and the Bulldogs are rolling. Yeah, they can do pretty much anything they want right now. Run the play, pass it. All options available for new offensive coordinator. Cassini Paloa. He fired the old offensive coordinator. That's right. Cassini Paloa. I always knew there was something off about him. He actually joked to the team about that a week ago Monday. He said, okay, I fired myself. I just hired me as the offensive coordinator. The old me. The old me brought me back. The old me is rocking and rolling right now. It is 33-7 over Lake. Goes the junior quarterback. He's going to run. Quarterback run all the way to the right side, and it's going to be a loss of 5 as the Bulldogs just swarm him under about 6 red jerseys all over him. These guys got to be wondering right now, Chris, is like, what do I got to do? Nothing is working. Not run sideways because the Bulldogs are basically stringing him out. That was a great job on that far side out there by looks like Engel, just setting the edge and keeping letting the help come from the inside like they teach you, and nowhere to go, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. 34-7, Sandpoint, 8:17 left here in this third quarter of play. Bulldogs all over the Timberwolves. There's nothing sweeter than just kicking the butt in Coeur d'Alene. For the Bulldogs, it's going to be Irish, of course, left side. He's got the first down and more. Across midfield, into Lake City territory to the 45-yard line. Levi Irish, another big gain, and he's got to be closing in on a 200-yard night. Having a flag down, though. Oh, no. Oh, there is a flag in the backfield, as usually is holding. Somebody tell the referees this will be his third one called back, and it is. Guess what? He gets to the outside. He cuts across the middle. He cuts to the right. He's into the end zone. Touchdown. Irish has scored again. This time from 29 yards out.
Our game was slow yesterday.
Like a dream. Yeah, he wasn't going to be denied that one. Oh, so all he did was give him 10 more yards in his rushing ball. Chris, I'm worn out just from watching Levi Irish run Barlow Stadium, but it's Levi Irish's night tonight. And he has rushed for 213 yards through 2.5 quarters. 4:45 to play in the third. 41-7 Bulldogs, as they are putting a licking on Lake City. They're going to have to start passing just so they don't run up the score. They're returning up to about...
I see a brawl. Oh, man.
Right up the gut with the fullback, and Plaster is into the end zone. Bulldogs, and Michael Plaster was not going to be denied. He just ran right through the pile of players and into the end zone. 47-13 Bulldogs. Nice night tonight for David North. 11 for 13, 119 through a touchdown. On the ground, the Bulldogs were able to amass 380 yards. That's 574 yards of offense a night for the Bulldogs. And, of course, the man of the hour, Levi Irish, number 35 for the Bulldogs, 276 yards of rushing tonight here at Barlow Stadium or Memorial Field. The Bulldogs take Lake City apart 6 ways from Sunday. And, boy, the Lakeland Hawks not going to like to see this score when they get up and look and see what Sandpoint did in the morning, because they're going to be facing this coming up next week. And this is our second week of this. It feels like the season just started for us offensively. And you're seeing what's happening defensively is these guys are starting to play better and better. I mean, these guys put 21 points on Tom Water, and they ran all over the field with that quarterback, and they didn't do that tonight. Our guys kept that guy in check. But the thing that was really good to see is our ability to run the ball tonight. Okay? And it started with these 5 guys right here, and Mikey at fullback, and Levi running tailback. And it was, well, let's see. He just ran more than his dad did, right? So we were talking about during the game, your dad was one tough runner, but I don't think he ever ran for 276 yards in a game. 200-yard game against Lake City, against Lake City in the first year. But he's getting one up on his dad, right? So, had a baby way to go tonight, but I tell you, you can talk to them. I mean, they did a hell of a job. Well, let's start with Levi. Levi, you got the start tonight. What were your expectations? What were you thinking going into the night? Just tell us.
I knew that my Hawks were going to do it for me and that we were going to win this game. It came to accomplish.
You sure did. You were great at picking your holes, waiting for these guys to get you that hole, and then once you got through there, I didn't know you were that fast. That was great.
All the Hawks. Offensive line.
It's you and this guy right here, Mike Plaster. Mike, maybe a tough night place kicking, but everything else was great.
Yeah, no. Kicking was not that good for me today. I was just kind of out of my element out there when I was kicking. But on offense, it was really easy to read the offensive line's blocking team because they were out there and they'd been practicing perfect all week, and it just made it easy for me to pick up the backers full time. So.
Classic Sandpoint last name. Sandpoint football with Irish and Plaster. Congratulations, guys. Everybody's very proud of you. I mean, Levi really turned it up. But I'll tell you, with the guys up front, Plaster, and then he realized these guys have been together for 4 years in the weight room, and they're fast. I'm telling you, we're talking, Tyrell Murray is as fast as most backs. He runs a 4.74. Carlos is 6'5", 240, runs 4.8. Marcus runs 4.8. Davis runs 4.7. They're fast. Now, Fan, not necessarily fast, but he is the fastest of the fans that I've had. So he's because of their time in the weight room, they're athletic. And I just kicked myself. We should have started this. But, going through that process, we've done a lot of other things. Because we're doing things offensively with Davin that we've never been able to do. We didn't do with Paul Neiman or Carl Rubicek. I mean, he's doing a lot of stuff with Check with me on the line. And you're going to see that what really happened was they were so afraid of Fox and Jake Timothy, the safety,
were not getting in the running game. They were not going to come up in the running game. And so we just ran the ball because they couldn't get the safety in the box. And as soon as they tried to do that, our ability to throw the ball was there. And so, the stuff that we went through has really turned the page that we can do things that we've never done with this group of kids right now. So I'm excited to see what happens down the road, and the best football is yet to be played.
Great, Coach. Have a well said. Congrats.
We're back at the Oaks Fresh Market pregame show here on KSPT, getting set for the first of two games that really matter. Lakeland coming to Barlow Stadium, War Memorial Field tonight. And we're talking with head coach Tini Paloa. Coach, you've been talking all year about getting the running game going. Well, you got the running game going and then some last week.
Against East Valley, it took us a while to get out of the fog. We were going to be a little bit tentative, a little bit slow. And last week it was crisper. But Central Valley could only run the ball for 85 yards against them. And Central Valley has two Division I linemen. They've got a Pac-12 lineman that's already signed with Utah, 6'6". We went against them at camp, and a Samoan kid that's 6'3", 6'4", 300 pounds, and they're athletic. I mean, they're D1 linemen, and they could only run the ball for 85 yards. City has been putting up anywhere from 300 to 400 yards against 5A competition. Rocky Mountain, they put up over 400 yards. They put up over 400 yards against Lewis and Clark. But nobody has ran the ball more than 200 yards against them, and we put up 4. If people really understand, or even our kids understand, that you're trying to build a program, and in going through that building process, it takes you in. Sometimes you make some twists and turns. It's also hard to put together a staff. It doesn't just happen at the snap of the fingers. You got to grind through everything, and we were at a pretty low ebb. I mean, to give you how bad it was when we started, and when I say this, don't take it the wrong way. To me, the kids are always the same. I can tell you, I've been here over 20 years. The middle school is going to give us 40 to 50 kids. There's going to be a couple of fast kids, some athletic kids, some strong kids. It's how you develop them. What I will tell you is, when we walked in, the kids were not developed. They didn't know how to work. They weren't weight room guys, and that's not their fault. It's the leadership of the people in charge. If I'm a parent or somebody in the community, those kids were shortchanged drastically. I mean, we don't have any different kids than we had back then, except they've had 4 years in the weight room. This same group of kids tied Lake City when they were freshmen. Now, 4 years later, who's developed more, them or Lake City?
Yeah, well, it's you look at the scoreboard, and it looks like us.
Levi Irish comes in behind Mike Plaster and behind that offensive line and runs for 300 yards. Well, he has gotten a lot better because of the weight room. I laugh and joke with him all the time because I had his dad when his dad was a senior.
Yes.
And his dad was 5'9", 165 pounds, and ran about a 4.8 40.
The Sandpoint offensive line brought Coach Paloa a tremendous birthday present Friday night. Irish rushed for a school record 279 yards and scored 3 touchdowns and 29 carries behind a dominating offensive line.
Deep, maybe Jay West. There's another handoff. This time Irish breaks a tackle, gets to the outside. He's got a Proctor's field, and he's going to go. He's to the 10, he's to the 5, he's into the end zone. Rusty Irish with the 31-yard.
Now, Levi's in a weightlifting program, weighs close to 180, and he's shorter than his dad. And he runs a 4.6 40. He's faster than his dad. He's stronger than his dad, right? And he's only a junior. And because he's had this, he's been in a program where he lifts every day for 3 years, right? And I can't explain this to people. I mean, when we came in here, our strongest player, senior, could power clean 235 pounds. That was it. Okay, I have freshmen that do that right now, all right? I mean, we have 5 guys on our team that power clean over 300 pounds because they have spent the time to develop their athleticism. And one boy, there's one senior boy that played 3 sports. Lighthouse Dressing came up with a scholarship for any boy that, and any male or female that would play 4 sport or play 3 sports as a senior. There was 1 girl and 1 boy. You know how many of our guys play 3 sports? It's ridiculous. Okay, you lift all the time, right?
Yeah.
And you compete in as many sports as you can for as long as you can. As soon as you're an athlete and you start to specialize, you do not get better. You actually get worse. Talk to Paul Sundquist, who's our middle linebacker. Okay, he will tell you that There's things that he does in all three sports that help him, right? I mean, he's out there playing football. I guarantee you there's stuff that he's done in baseball and basketball that are helping him, and vice versa. Jake Plummer was here the other day to watch his nephew, Declan, play. He goes, these kids need to compete in everything. And the two teams we play the next 2 weeks, they want to play 3A competition. And when you watch us play Lakeland and Moscow, look at the difference. It is a mentality. We don't have any different kids than they do.
Well, let me ask you a really quick question about that then. So obviously you look at Lakeland and they've been seeing this and maybe coming into these games and taking these opponents lightly based on the fact that they've played the toughest competition. And, kids can read. They see what's going on. They'll know that they are the better team, but you still have to show up and play it on the field.
But here's what happens is you play at your level. You don't drop down to the opponent's level. You play at your level. And we'll have to see what happens on Friday night. Our kids have heard this already. Or we're going to play how we practice. So as long as we continue to practice hard, as long as we continue to compete in practice, and as long as that's what we do, then that won't be a problem. But if we do what you're saying is we look at the scores and we say, okay, this is going to be an easy game, and we drop down and play at their level, then it will be a problem. That's really the task. We're going to line up and we're going to play at our speed, conditioning your kids to realize that when you show up to compete, the opponent really doesn't matter. It's all about you, your teammate, and how you perform. You have to go out and do your job at a high level and enjoy being in that process with your teammates. That's really all that it's about. And if you can get into that kind of mindset or frame of mind, then what you'll do is you'll go out and you'll compete, and you will not back off or lower your intensity level. Well, you can't. These guys can't afford to. So they got to come out of the gate swinging, and they have to do that the next 3 weeks. Otherwise, when you do get into a playoff game, you'll get ambushed.
Sure. So then let's turn to Lakeland. What do you see on film, and what do you expect from them offensively?
The idea is we got to be relentless. We got to come out of the starting blocks, and it doesn't matter what you do. We're going to come and we're going to get a body on a body, and we're going to get physical. And that's what we're going to do. On the defensive side, they're going to run a lot of multiple sets. But I'll tell you, we've seen multiple sets from Post Falls, U-High, Lewiston, Mount Spokane, East Valley. I mean, at this point now, these guys have started to see just about everything. Each week, defensively, they've gotten better and better. And our kids have a pretty good idea that if on the offensive side, you only gain between 200 and 250 yards, then that offensive outing on a grading scale is an F. If you can gain 300 yards, you're about a C. If you can get, to 400 yards, you're a B. If you can get to 500 yards, you're an A. Well, the last two games, East Valley, we were over 5, and last week we were over 6.
Yes.
On the defensive side, we've held the opponents down to around 220. And there haven't been too many teams that have held Lake City under 250 yards.
Well, their whole plan of letting their little backup quarterback run around didn't work too well. All right, well, thank you, Coach, and we'll talk to you after the game, and we'll be back to wrap up the Oaks Fresh Market pregame show after this on KSPT.
Sure. Sandpoint dispatched Lakeland 48-14 on Friday night in the 4A Inland Empire opener at Barlow Stadium. But that's not what anyone in attendance will most remember years from now. When an NFL legend returns to his hometown, bringing with him a gold gift from the NFL, well, let's just say the night belonged to one Jerry Kramer. The former Bulldog, Idaho Vandal, and Green Bay Packers lineman shook hands, signed autographs, and reminisced with old friends before presenting SHS with the gold football at halftime ceremonies provided by the NFL. Kramer talked for a few minutes at halftime with Bulldog captains Paul Sundquist, Carlos Collado, Kyle Perry, and Davin Norris, even showing them his Super Bowl II ring, which made for some wide eyes among the players. The Bulldogs started fast, marching down the field on their first 4 possessions to take a quick 28-0 lead in the first quarter. Kyle Perry ran for 124 yards on 22 carries, while Michael Plaster rushed for 74 yards and 3 touchdowns to help stake the Bulldogs to a 35-0 halftime lead. who had 32 players honored before the game. It was a crisp outing with all the stuff going on with Kramer and senior night. It was a great night for the kids and a truly special night for Sandpoint.
So thanks again for having me here, and thanks for allowing me to come bring the football, and now we're all part of Super Bowl history.
The Lakeland Hawks were introduced as an entire team, so they didn't have to, change their names to protect the innocent or anything.
Something like that.
Bulldogs are considerably larger human beings than their opponent. Boom, win this week here at home, and next week down in Moscow, and they'll be qualified for the state playoff here at Carlo Stadium, and 32 seniors were introduced to the crowd.
That's got to be a record.
It's got to be. 32 seniors.
I don't think Lakeland has 32 players on the sideline.
Clark wishes they had 32 people in their school.
And the way this defense has played over the last 2 weeks, you fear for the Hawks.
Lakeland will be the first play of this game on Jerry Kramer night. He's alone in the backfield. He's going to be thrown for a loss of about 4 or 5 complete, but it's going to be thrown for another loss. To get to maybe the line of scrimmage as the Bulldogs are just all over him.
Yeah, that's 2 carries, 16 yards for Levi Irish, picking up right where he left off last week.
Well, he's got the low center of gravity. He is faster. He's got a big hole on the right side. He's around the 30, 25, 20. He may go. Oh, block, and he does. And the snap stopped the quarterback, who wasn't looking, and thrown for a big loss back to the 26. They bring it as their running back tries to go to the left side, and, he loses a yard or two. Morris is going to throw. He's going to throw deep over the middle. It is caught by Timothy at the 40. It's a putback. He's at the 20. And he's trapped from behind at the 16-yard line.
There we go, there we go.
You know, Bob, I must say, in all my years, I think this is the first time I've ever gone almost an entire quarter and had somebody with minus 30 yards of rushing.
He has made the Irish play action pass to the Plaster to 20, into the 15, state arm it.
Drive, baby.
Irish looking for a hole. Irish trying to get outside, and he breaks the tackle at the 11. Down the sideline, dives for the cone. Did he get in to the end zone for Colton? I thought it was 36. I thought it was being for that goal line stand, but it was Irish. Takes the snap. He takes another loss. The Bulldogs are spending all the linebackers, and they're just Lakeland doesn't have the personnel to block it. Back to the quarterback, he wants to throw. He's under a lot of pressure, and he goes down back at the 36-yard. Norris gets out to Perry. Perry's got a wall in front of him. Gets back at the 10 to the 5, where he's met, dragging bodies down to about the 1-yard line. Run by Norris, who just discovered kind of by accident 3 weeks ago that he could be a running quarterback.
Bulldogs closing in on 300 yards of offense in the first half.
Our team is pissed.
Minus 32 yards of offense.
He's going to fake it to Dickens. He's going to keep it, and he's going to wish for Dickens who didn't. Left alone, they hand it off until they throw it into the end zone, and it's broken up incomplete. Perry on the carry. He's trying to break a tackle up to 15. He's down to about the 22-yard line, so give Kyle Perry a gain of 20 on the first down play.
Play action pass for Norris. He's looking deep. He's throwing deep. He's got Wyatt McCormick caught, and it's complete. Getting out to Plaster. Plaster right side of 35. 30 looking for a block. Gets it at the 20. 15. 10. 5. Touchdown. Perry right side. Perry gets the block. Perry walks into the end zone. And Bulldogs bring everybody. Poe looks up and says, oh, crap. As he gets stuffed for a 4-yard line. Perry again. He comes back at the 30. Tries to put a move on and gets up to about the 39-yard line. Play action pass for Norris. Norris gets it complete out to the left side. Little spin move at the 45. Was all Carlos Collado. Collado strung that play so far out. As he literally, he snapped the ball to him and he looked up and all I could see was red jersey. It was just like, oh my God. Barely intercepted by Sandpoint number 23, Bolton Angle.
We played the Star Spangled Banner standing on the edge of the field. And there was something magical about that night and about that moment. I was really pumped up and really excited. But for the rest of my life, no matter where I was, when I heard the Star Spangled Banner, and I could be in the LA Coliseum or Yankee Stadium or Cowboy Stadium or Lambeau Field or 1,000 other locations, but when I heard that Star Spangled Banner, I came back to Memorial Field in Sandpoint.
Bulldogs get it complete. Magro down below. He's got a first down and more. He's into Lakeland territory, and he's actually stepped out of bounds at about the 35-yard line. Perry to the right side. Perry with a straight arm. 30, 25, knocked out of bounds at about the 16-yard line. Plaster to the right. He's at the 5. He's at the 1. He's at the end zone. Touchdown, Bulldogs. Third touchdown for Plaster. And it is 42-0 Bulldogs. And this little quarterback, Ryan Poe, is just having a tough night. He's going to be beat up by the time this thing's over. As it's Jake Timothy on the catch. He got it at the 5, and there was no denying him. He keeps it to the left side, and he's going to be beat up by the time this play's over. Poe takes the snap. He's looking deep. He's throwing really deep. It's going to be intercepted. There's also a flag thrown. Raven Smith on the interception, now on the return. A nice return inside the 35-yard line. So not only, he's short, he's 5'5". He's obviously stronger than heck and carries people with him, and he's super fast. One more win next week on the road to Moscow, and we're in the state playoffs. Congratulations.
We'll be in the state playoffs, and we'll be IEL champions. I thought it was, a good kind of crisp outing with all the stuff going on. There's a lot of distractions. Senior night, a lot of good stuff. It's nice to be in here tonight.
Absolutely. A great night for Sandpoint to enjoy. Like you said, senior night, sellout crowd, and Jerry Kramer, a nice speech at halftime. He's going to go meet the kids in the locker room, so we'll let you go do that and have a great time.
Yeah, see you next week, Bob.
Thanks, Coach. Chris, back up to you to wrap it up.
Pay the price, make the sacrifice, prepare yourself properly, commit yourself, have the discipline, have the perseverance, the character, the pride, the tenacity, all the qualities that make you a good football player will make you a good human being and a good businessman, no matter where the hell you go. But it's the price that you have to pay.
Welcome back. It's the Oaks Fresh Market pregame show here on KSPT as we get set for Sandpoint and Moscow. And we welcome in the head coach of the Sandpoint Bulldogs, Tini Paloa. Coach, 1 down, 1 to go when it comes to the games that matter that send you into the state playoffs. A pretty impressive victory on last Friday. First quarter had you for like 180 yards of offense, and Lakeland for minus 30. That's a pretty strong quarter of work.
We were playing really well, and a lot of stuff going on. We had senior night with 32 seniors out there, and then we had the NFL with Jerry Kramer. So there was a lot of distractions and things that could have had an effect on how we played. But we came out of the chute playing really well. We scored on every possession until we punted in the fourth quarter.
32 seniors. Bob and I were speculating that's got to be close to a record.
The record is 97. There were 34 on that team. There's 40 sophomores, and they have a chance to finish 8-1. Our freshman team is over 40 players. They've already won the IEL title. The freshmen won the IEL title. The sophomores play tonight for the IEL title. We play on Friday for the IEL title. Even though we had 32 seniors, there's 26 juniors and there's 40 sophomores.
Wow.
It's not like Lakeland had 25 kids for 3 years and then those guys left and they have no seniors. The program is healthy, it is strong, and there's going to be a lot of kids coming back who have played, high-level competition, will have playoff experience. Again, the state of the program is really in a good shape.
Your chief concern coming into the game today, and then as you move forward into the playoffs here in another 3 weeks?
Well, the biggest concern is the kids' concern was our schedule was heavily front-loaded with playoff type games. Since we've gotten back into the eye, it's made a huge difference on how we play. The kids are getting more and more used to the defensive system and are making less mistakes. Our biggest concern is that we don't play down, we continue to play up and execute, and we, individual and team goals each week that we're trying to achieve. Because if we don't do that, we could open up the first round of the playoffs playing a pretty good team and get caught, napping.
Mm-hmm.
And we're fighting against that. We had a great practice yesterday, and we're one of the few teams. We went ones versus ones, and it turns into a game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we go ones versus ones, and we might as well be lining up against Lake City or Post Falls or Lewiston again. The only guy that really plays both ways is Carlos. Everybody else is playing one way. So it was really crisp, good execution. The defense won a couple of plays, and the offense won a couple of plays, and that's what you want to see. I would say, though, when we were in the ace formation, we did this earlier in the year, the defense won all the plays.
Just want to quickly, again, retouch on Jerry Kramer coming last week and, presenting the football, part of the NFL's 50th Super Bowl celebration, and what that meant to the team, not only having him there at halftime, but what he said in the locker room after the game.
Well, it was really special. And he also said the same thing to the kids when he had the captains down on the bench. The 11 years in Green Bay, and in particular the 9 years with Vince Lombardi, really formulated pretty much who he is today.
Mm-hmm.
And he talked to him, and he basically told him, and he quoted William Jennings Bryant, destiny is more about choice than it is chance. And you have a chance to choose if you're willing to pay a price. And it's about, willing to pay that price. And if you're willing to pay a price,
it's open. A wonderful order from back east, William Jennings Bryan.
You can accomplish just about anything. And that was the message to these kids. And of course, they've heard that, for the last 4 years, just about every day. It was great to have him say it in the way that he says it. For our kids to hear that firsthand they're going to appreciate it from years to come.
Well, I know one thing. For me personally, as a longtime Sandpoint person and as a Green Bay Packer fan, it was unbelievable. The atmosphere and the way the crowd reacted. It was super great. And how awesome is it for kids to hear the message that they heard, coming from somebody like that. And let's face it, that is not the message that most kids get today in today's society, that hard work and dedication and self-sacrifice can pay off for you in the long run.
Do you have the grit and the mental toughness and not be mentally weak and prey to temptations and take the easy road out? So much of what we talk about and where we've gone and what these kids have, this is why these kids are where they're at, is because of that. These kids have worked, immensely hard over a long period of time for 4 years to get to where they're at. For us, the season hasn't even started.
Okay, let's turn our attention now to the team we face tonight, Moscow. Again, similar as last week, you look at the record, it's not that impressive. But what does Moscow do, or what do you believe they're going to attempt to do when they have the ball this evening?
They're going to try to throw the ball. They got a couple of guys that are outstanding athletes from their state track team, that have pretty good speed. They have size up front, and they have some athletes on the perimeter. So, if you allow them to stick around and put some things together and get some momentum, they throw a couple of balls up and make some jump ball plays, you know, and we're off mentally. You know, you're in for a long night, and you're down in District 2. And last year, you know, we ran the ball for 500 yards against them.
Perry cuts back to 30, 35 to the 40. Still on his feet at the 50, 45, 40. He's down the sideline to the 25. Breaks the tackle and rumbles into the end zone.
When you get rushed on for 500 yards, you took a beating. And they complained about that an awful lot. They complained about it up here to our officials. So we're going into hostile territory. I know that they're gonna have the officials down there primed and ready for everything that we do. Our kids are going to be under a microscope, and you know, it's not going to be a cakewalk down there for us.
Go out and get that #1 seed, and we'll talk to you after the game.
Thanks, Chris.
Tonight we are in Moscow, and we have the Moscow Bears. It's senior night. They introduced their 7 seniors. So it's all good, but we'll have to see how good the Bulldogs here are tonight. Of course, on paper, heavy favorites. But as you know, Coach Blow was just saying, you never know. You're on the road. You have the District 2 referees. 50 to 45 to 40, and he is going to go all the way. Touchdown Bulldogs on a 70-yard punt return. Any thoughts of the Bulldogs coming out complacent could be taken away by the first 4 plays that we've seen tonight. 3 out and a touchdown. Open out there, Carlos Collado, who seems to be in on every tackle that's anywhere close to the line of scrimmage. He out of the slot. He's going to be thrown for a loss. The ball is loose, and it's picked up by a Bulldog at the 40, and he is going to go all the way. And it looks like Walker Jacobson, who had the tackle, just ripped the ball out of the ball carrier's hands, and it was number 23 who went in motion. And then I think it was Johnson who picked it up and ran it in. Looks like vintage South Perry. It did. I mean, he was off the line faster than we did since week 1 down in the Kippy Dome. The 20 for Sandpoint. Here's Perry right side. Here's Perry cutting back to the middle. He gets across the 30 to about the 30. And it's going to be Plaster, the fullback, across the 40. He's got the first down and more across the 50, 40, 35. He hurdles a man at the 30, and he is in the end zone. Touchdown, Michael Plaster. Senior for Moscow takes the snap out of the shotgun. He drops it, and then he's dropped back at the 28-yard line. Bulldogs bring the rush, and they just do get the kick off. It's a decent one. Zingle has to go back. He's hit before he can catch the ball, and there's a flag down. Do you think of any possible explanation for that? Now waving off the flag and giving it to Moscow. They're saying it's a fumble, and they wave off the flag and giving the ball to Moscow, and I have one word for that: no way. And the referee is explaining something about, well, you know, you're down here in District 2, and that's right. You talked about it on the pregame show, Coach. Welcome to Moscow. And you know, you're like 30-point favorites, and these guys need a break. And I'm giving the Bulldogs 33. Carfallon back to pass, and he is going to go down at midfield. In on the blitz for the Sandpoint number 9, Walker Jacobson, coming in on the blitz, and he was all over Carfallon. The pass across the middle of Timothy, takes it at the 40, he's to the 50, and he is tipped up there at the Moscow 47. Perry right side. Perry literally runs over one Moscow player and gets up to about the 40. Now, as soon as I say that, they go to the air, and it is caught across the middle. It's Wyatt McCormick Cox, and he falls at the 1-yard line. He tried to cut. Magro to the 10, to the 5, to the corner of the end zone, touchdown, 16-yard pass to Magro. That was a beautifully designed play, Bob. That's right, 11:15 left second quarter. Bulldogs scoring at will. And he's going to drop back the pass. Going to be almost picked off and dropped. Would have been a big 6 for Sandpoint. Well, Single in motion. He fakes it to him. Carfallon wants to keep it. He's hit in the backfield. Is going to be dropped. So 3rd and 1 for Sandpoint. It's going to be Irish up the gut. He's got the first down and more. He bounces off the Beagle 45 to 50, 45, 40, dancing down the sidelines. Levi Irish all the way. Touchdown Bulldogs. Norris right up the gut to pressure. Presser just plowing his way through, close to another Bulldog first down. There's a flag at the end of this play. 23-yard line. Norris back to pass. He throws a wobbler into the end zone. It's caught for the touchdown. Wyatt McCormick Cox stopped at the 9-yard line. So good coverage by the Bulldog kick team. Yeah, Jackson Dirk down there. He Plaster right up the gut. Plaster still on his feet. Plaster just plowing people inside the 10-yard line. Norris is going to pass again, and he does, and it's caught. And a touchdown for the Bulldogs. Matthew Timothy. Bulldogs have been totally dominant, scoring every time they've had the ball on offense. And coming to the near side is Engel. Engel across the 40, 45, 50, and down to the Bear 45-yard line. Nice job by Colton Engel. Bulldogs at the Bears 37. Norris wants to pass. Norris rolling to his right. Norris looking, he's throwing. It is complete. And Wyatt McCormick Cox on his feet and then knocks down inside the 10-yard line. But I think that the way this game is being refereed is influencing the Bulldogs to maybe try a little harder than they might at normally up 42-14 going towards the half. Norris gets it to his fullback right up the gut, and it's Presser and into the end zone. That's great to see Kyle Presser playing football again for Sandpoint after being out for center. 48-14 at halftime. You know, we talked last week the Bulldogs could have put up 100. Well, they put up 50 and a half tonight. Almost. They just go for 2. They make it at even 50. They still have scored every time the offense has had the football. So I think that, you've got to, you have to take that into consideration. And, it's high school varsity football. Yeah, you don't want to necessarily run up the score, but by the same token, you can't just say, okay, well, you guys only get to play a half, and you're only going to get to play a half next week, and then 2 weeks after that, guess what? Now you got to go a full game in the playoffs. So I think you're going to see start to play well in this third quarter. We were talking about, the Bulldogs and whether they're going to play their starters. I mean, what are the Bulldogs going to do? They're running the football right up the middle. They're running the football to the outside. Moscow cannot tackle them. Yeah, that's not the Bulldogs' fault. It's not like the Bulldogs are coming out, spreading the field, and throwing it all over the place, and running hook and ladders, and doing all this crazy stuff. They're just lining up, and they are kicking butt over Moscow right now. And I don't see where Moscow has any answers to that in the second half of play. Yeah, I don't see that either. In the Bulldogs, it doesn't matter who the running back is. It could be Irish, it could be Perry, you could get Magro back there. You put Presser in there, and our Plaster. Great to see Presser score that 10-yard touchdown run after all of that been through. And quarterback for Moscow is Devin Carscallon. He's going to get back to pass. He is rolling. He's looking. He's throwing. It's going to be a fight for the ball. It's caught at the 11-yard line, the 15-yard line. And then a fumble at the end of the play is recovered by the Bulldogs. Paul Sundquist is on it, and the throw goes up, makes the catch, and then bowling balls off the Moscow defender. And just like that, the Bulldogs have reestablished that nearly 35-point lead. But he hands it off, and his fullback or running back, whatever you want to call him, got nowhere to go. Maybe lost a yard, but boy, if they keep throwing that pass off, Stamford's going to take one to the house. Here's Irish trying to bounce to the outside. Now trying to cut the corner at the 10. Of course, there's a flag on the play. He knocks over a whole bunch of people and gets into the end zone. Of course, poor Levi Irish is scoring another touchdown, and it's going to come back on a hold. It's brought back to pass again. There's going to be a flag. And Wyatt McCormick Cox makes a sensational catch into the end zone for another Bulldog touchdown that will be called back. Third down, pass is caught over the middle, and a nice dive into the end zone, and a Bulldog touchdown for Wyatt McCormick Cox. And there are no flags.
Stretch it! Roll tackle! Good roll!
This is out to Muldoon. He's across the 30, the 35, 40, across the 50, to the 40. One man to beat. He tries to run him over, and he's down at the 25-yard line. And a great run by Colton Muldoon.
with a bulldog. Your mom must think the bulldogs are like USC of the old days.
And he does keep it right up the gut, and he is into the end zone, barring some penalty to another one we've never heard of. But there are no flags, and it is a Bulldog touchdown. Number 39 in the game, and he tries to stay in bounds after a nifty run to about the 20-yard line. And that ball carrier is Nick Collins. To the 10, to the 5, and the Irish is finally into the end zone, and I'm looking for flags. There are none. Gavin Norris, and he kicks it through, and he's acting like he just won the Super Bowl. He makes the PAT. He thinks it's the greatest thing that's ever happened. Chris, in all these years, I don't remember us getting into the 7. No, I was just thinking the same thing. I think it's the first time we've ever seen a 7 up there. 75. Bob Winnie down here on the field with Coach Paloa, now surrounded by a whole heck of a lot of Bulldogs. Has a huge win. IEL champs, first seed going into the playoffs. How good does that feel?
Well, it's been a while, but I'll tell you what is even more a while is our freshmen are IEL champions, the sophomores are IEL champions, and the varsity's IEL champions, so we got a first round bye.
Gentlemen, we did give them a big old burger. That's got to be the worst officiated game I've ever been to. But coach, we wouldn't expect it any other way.
Greg Hosterman, defensive end, a.k.a. Hoster Buddy. Rob Wentz, center.
Rob Wentz, center, defensive end, Rocket, St. Anna champion.
Tyrell Murray, left tackle on offense and defense, big crunch.
Tyrell Murray, left tackle, big crunch.
We don't need no stinking badges.
Yeah, we don't need no stinking badges.
We're going the wrong way!
Another one.
That's a foul!
I'm on my way.
Steer, Irish, steer!
Go!
That was a good one.
Fight the way I want it to be. Tell me what you want.
Oh my God.
Uncle Man! I cannot play with the fart! I had a little boy named Billy Cogan.
I don't know where to go.
Look at those guys. They're trying. They don't know how to turn. They'll end up in Coeur d'Alene.
You better get first.
Is there sound on that thing?
Great! Awesome!
Steady, steady.
Ah!
Yeah, I got sacked to the back of the head.
Oh!
We got the best, the hottest acapella group on camp, the Oh My's. She's got a smile that it seems to me where everything was as fresh as a bright blue sky.
Live from the Big Big Center here in Toronto, Canada. Okay, so let's get this show started, shall we?
Let's go out there, let's make a statement right now. Red middle!
Come on, yeah.
How we want it to end up, it's in our destiny. We control how it goes. We just gotta unleash it.
You know, it's a rough way to end the season, but I'm glad we're all here together. No, I want to trade you guys for anything.
About those timid souls who know no victory or defeat. That feeling that you have, that pain, that means you're alive. Not everybody gets to feel this, even though it hurts.
It meant a lot to all of us. Just think about this, gentlemen. Just think about what it was like to be a team that believed in themselves and continued to work, even when all was lost. That's the sign of a winner. We may not have won this game, but you guys are winners. There's no doubt in my mind.
From 8th grade until now, like, we've all grown as men. We've all grown into our bodies, and we just become really good people. And I'm just gonna say, like all the other coaches, I'm proud of every one of you guys. And we had a hell of a ride. We had so much fun.
And just never forget this. You can if you will. And that's for the rest of your life, no matter what you do. You put your mind to it and just live. Live your freaking life as well as you possibly can. Go, go!
Parents, all the support staff. Look how many people have come and supported you day in and day out. from before the season ever starting. It's because we are a family. We're a team. Win or lose, all of us have become very close to one another. All of us deeply care for one another. And that's great. That's family. That's who we are. That's our community. That's our town. That's our high school. And that's our team.
Brothers, right? Like, we're brothers, right? We go through this. It's a great experience, and you'll never ever look back and say, oh man, we missed state. You're gonna look back and you're gonna go, look at all those practices we had. Look at all those moments we had together. Look at all that weightlifting training we did together. And that's important. You guys will have that for the rest of your life.
As it is a matter of choice. So you make your choices. You decide the road you're going to travel. You decide where the hell you're going and how you're going to end up. You want to pay the price, make the sacrifice, prepare yourself properly, commit yourself, have the discipline, have the perseverance, the character, the pride, the tenacity, all the qualities that make you a good football player will make you a good human being and a good businessman, no matter where the hell you go. But it's a price that you have to pay. It's pretty simple. Virtually the world is yours if you want it. There's not a hell of a lot you can't accomplish.